What is going on, everybody? My name is Northy, and it is very, very good to see this screen for the second week in a row. We're back on another streak. It's good to see it. We got to make the most of the prize winner screens as of late, because obviously we're getting very, very close to the end of the season. However, prize winner, you've won a prize card, shows up on the screen once again, and I'm super excited to show you guys how exactly it's happened. We'll press choose later, but you can see here, these were the best players for each. Jack Steele, who we use quite regularly, won the midfield. Marcus Bontempelli, he ended up taking the forward again for the second straight week. Tim English was the best ruckman, and Luke Ryan, who we have picked in the past before, but not as of recently, he ended up taking spot number 1 for the backman. So very, very interesting to see. First, I want to show you guys the Star Powers team, because Star Powers was very, very good to us, obviously. We check a few of the players, and Luke Park with 103. That was really, really good. A shame we could have used him with his double points, as he had 103 right there. But we got a Noah Anderson. He was the one that we could have swapped with Luke Parker with the 89 points. So unfortunately, nothing too great for us in terms of the pick here and there. But nonetheless, both of them getting like 90 to 100 is super awesome. We need all the points we can get. The only disappointment, Dye Simpkin. The week we finally put him in and think, hey, maybe he can do well for us, he gets 43. And just North Melbourne as in general played pretty poorly. He's averaged like 100 over the past 2 weeks, so to see him get a 43 here, it breaks my heart. Carl Amon we've been using so much. He goes ahead and drops 100. We could have easily used an extra 60 points. Would have been so nice, but no, we go ahead and ruin it for ourselves. But we mentioned before, Bontempelli won the forward line, and he had 128 points. This is the second week in a row where he's been by far the best player. 128 here, 141 last week. He's been great for us, Bontempelli. Obviously no Josh Kelly, because he was out with a concussion. But thankfully, the replacement player, who you may know, we managed to get 186. And not only that, we've gone up another spot. We are in rank 4 now for the season. Hales is not in the season, so which means they did not make it to the top 30 this week. We got that 21st spot, so it's really, really good stuff right now. I believe Dylan, the AFL and BBL lover, I believe he sent me a message on Instagram telling me that he managed to get a prize card at 36, which is kind of weird considering top 30 do it. I don't know why there are a lot of people who didn't manage to get it, even if they were in the top, but nonetheless, there's us, 786, with rank 4 next to our name. 11,446 for the season. Fair bit away from KB3 now, which is good. KB3 was even below us. So overall, amazing week. Managing to break the top 5 and get into the top 4. It'll be interesting to see how it looks like next week though, because I know at least one of my subscribers is ahead of me. I think it's Bod. I've not seen Bod in a good while. However, he may still be hiding within the top 3. Hales again is one that we got to look out for, but nonetheless, it's good to see my name at least at the top for the season in round 19. This is awesome, exactly what I want. I'm interested to see whether any prizes come for doing well in the season, but we'll have to find out, because who knows. Nonetheless, rank 21 does earn us a prize card for the week, so that is a huge positive, and you guys will find out very, very soon, if you haven't been able to tell already, who the Star Powers player for this week was that I am currently hiding. So get your guesses in the comments, but if you know, then there's a good chance you will you'll be very excited for the next few weeks, because it means we may have a lot of prize cards coming our way. But we go over to top team, and our top 4 was this week. A few positives and negatives. Vlosten ended up being the best Richmond player, but not by much. You can see here, he had the 94 points, which is above average. However, there are a lot of backmen who did better. Dawson we have in our lineup. We've chosen Brayshaw a few times. Somehow Barras is consistently getting 100-point games now. The dude's all over it. The dude is becoming a massive part of the West Coast backline. Obviously, they get a lot of reps, but he's starting to finally get it to click together, and I think it helps West Coast slowly edge their way back into becoming a bit more of a competitive side at the very least. But nonetheless, we have a look here. Midfield, Rory Laird. Rory Laird did pretty well with a 38 disposals, 6 tackles, 1 mark for 103 points. But obviously, Steele was the big winner this week with 40, 10, and 8. That is a huge week. 137. Definitely considered a winner if you managed to have Steele in there. The best backman again was Luke Ryan, but I'm trying to look. Maybe the most predictable one was Brayshaw, maybe even Young, one of the two. I've used Dawson a bit this season, so I'd imagine a lot of people would have also used him as well. Ruckman was a very, very interesting one this week. Rowan Marshall did actually do quite well. I was getting very worried as the week was going on because a lot of Ruckman were having good games. You can see here, 3 of them at least had over 100 points. But thankfully, Rowan Marshall was not far behind, 4 points below. Like I mentioned, he was up against a not-so-great ruckman in Bailey J. Williams, I believe it was, for West Coast. And obviously, you can see here, Rowan Marshall averages 20 hit-outs for the season. He got 48 against him in this one. And with the 15 disposals and 3 marks, it means he goes way above his average. And thankfully, he managed to have himself a half-decent game as well. So, gives him 96 points, puts him up pretty high. And so, although Max Gawn coming back out of nowhere to have a really good game is very good. Team English, once again, seems to be the best option with the 10 marks, man. He's all over it with the marks. Just athletic and really, really good for the Dogs right now. Speaking of good for the Dogs, Marcus Bontempelli. We smashed it with a forward line choice this week. Yeah, not getting anything wrong there. Very, very nice to see. The 4 marks, goal, 26 disposals. I believe it's the 1%ers in that got him up there. Even the tackles too. You can see they got the goals there, but nothing for tackles. However, I'm almost certain he did quite well with those. So we check the ladder position. We didn't actually move. We did not go up. We did not go down. You see here, rank 6 managed to make it. He came 3rd or tied 3rd. And managed to get himself quite high up. But thankfully for us, we got a very, very good week. We could have potentially gone up if we didn't get 400 points. But you see there, we had 421. We got rank 35. It's honestly not that bad. I'm not terribly stressed at the result. We stay in that 4th position with a 400 plus score. It's pretty much all that we really need right now. And although they could have multiple great weeks that get them further up, I'm really happy with the result that we've gotten, considering some of the choices. Boston in a game against Fremantle was a very, very interesting one. Obviously, the game ending in the first draw for the season, so definitely a crazy ending there. We had ourselves the Rory Laird going back in the middle, and although he has been quite a favourite for a lot of people, he was not the best one. Steele definitely helping these guys out a lot, I'd imagine. I was really, really happy with the Bonds pick. And the Rowan Marshall pick turned out better than I thought. If I picked up Team English, and I think I will next week, I'm not too sure. He's just been in and out as of late, and I've almost forgotten about him at times. But I definitely think he'll be a good pickup in the near future. Just a few little changes here and there, like, again, Laird for Steele, English for Marshall, and that would have skyrocketed us above. And a little thing that I've been able to find, for some reason, certain backmen against the Dogs have really good games. Like we saw Brayshaw against the Dogs. He got 106. He got above average, which is good to see. And the week before, we had Jack Sinclair, who ended up winning the week against the Dogs, even in a game that they lost. It's just strange little things that I'm picking up here and there. So maybe we'll be able to find out who will be the good pick coming up. But nonetheless, we go over to top 18 with that knowledge. And yeah, little interesting things here and there. Jeremy Cameron ended up not being the greatest of picks, only just 66 points. But other than that, the top 4 for our team ended up making it in the top 6. The 2 big Carlton ruckmen winning the week for them this time around. 4 goals and 10 marks with 18 disposals for Kerno. And then the same disposals and marks for Mackay, except with a couple less goals. So, very interesting stuff between the two of them, having a great week. Himmelberg remains really good, even though his team remains quite poor. Dylan Moore continues to find his hands on the ball, get a few marks here and there. Bailey Smith getting back into the swing of things. Good to see him playing all right. And Bontempelli is Bontempelli at the moment. He's finally found his form again. Our bad picks this week were Cameron and Jackson. So Jackson will probably be getting the boot next week for either Heaney or one of the Carlton boys, I think. And Cameron may even find himself out. We won't know until it happens. But that's it for the forwards. The middle, Cogs was a risky pick, and it didn't really work out for us. Only the 75. After a few weeks of close to 100, it's a little poor. Looking through here, Zach Merritt, although he didn't have a 100-point performance, he's still on the first page. Could have been a good pick. This week's very tough. I think a lot of people would have had Cripps, potentially. Not many people Crouch. Maybe Mitchell. Parker, probably not. Taranto, probably not. Took, maybe. I know Took's a popular pick. Dunkley often gets picks. And other than that, not too many notable picks, other than the obvious Steele, Laird, and Mills. The rest of them, I'm not sure. Lockie Neal, I don't know why he can't find his form. He just can't find it. The lack of marks and tackles ruined him this week, and considering he's been averaging close to 100 all season, these last 3 or 4 weeks have just dropped him off 100. just completely. It's been strange. I'm still confident in the man. I know he's going to have a week where he absolutely smashes it, but at the moment, it's nowhere to be found. Obviously, we've talked about Marshall a lot, but midfield, a little poor, but again, not very easy to tell this week. We go to the back line though. Very, very strange. As I mentioned, the two Fremantle Dockers players having a ridiculous week. Barras, 2 weeks in a row, having great games. Sard finding his form again with a load of marks. Obviously, the screamer he took was the most notable one. Heppel with 100. Interesting. Then we've got the Scrimshaw. I've mentioned between Scrimshaw and Sicily. Here's the difference. Or nearly 20 points difference between the two, and Sicily, strangely, nowhere near Scrimshaw in a game where both probably weren't needed all that often against North Melbourne. Very strange indeed, but Sinclair, the rare poor performance that may have let a few people down. Obviously, Sinclair was amazing the previous week, but nowhere to be found against West Coast. A very strange thing indeed. The Blitzers pick didn't work out too well, and Jake Lloyd also had a really poor performance. So the backline is probably where it let us down this week. So we check the ladder, and we again stick in the same position. We are number 12. We have a look at the general picture, and it seems to go forwards lead us at the moment because we just keep finding the same picks in Bont, Himmelberg, Moore, Smith. These guys keep managing to pull off really, really good games. And then the occasional one from the Carlton boys. Heaney can have a decent one every now and then. But then we look through the middle. It can really go to anybody at the moment. It really can. There's certain ones that keep finding their way into the 100-point mark, like Mills, Laird, and Steele. But the rest are kind of like all over the place. You can't tell. And then this week, the backline was just surprisingly poor. Really surprisingly poor. Like Sinclair, you'd think in a game against West Coast where he'd be perfect for the rebound 50, just straight back in. He was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found against West Coast. To be fair, they didn't really need him, but nonetheless, very surprising. Sicily, again, not needed. Lofton ended up being alright. Dawson ended up being alright. But Blitzard, their big player at the moment for the Cats, he's been really good for them. Again, not needed as much, and same with Lloyd. Just really strange overall from the back line. The ones you probably could have picked with Barras, maybe one of the Fremantle boys, Brayshaw potentially, but I don't think many people had Heppel in their picks this week. So very interesting to see us unfortunately fall out due to the back line. That's often very rare, but we have a look, and 2 people in the top 10 managed to get a top 10 spot this week, which is not good. Grind Goat and Lil Lamp, 3 and 9 respectively. We gotta hope that these guys start having some poor performances because we're a little bit behind now. You can see here, we're only the 100 points away from 9. Like a little under 100, or over 100, maybe even 150 behind number 9. So we gotta try and find a few points here and there because players like this aren't going to let you get too many points up on them, especially considering they're getting in here. So we need to find a change to hopefully get us where we need. But again, hopeful that we'll be able to find ourselves in the top 10 here again. JZR, who I think also mentioned that was them. I believe so. Let me check my messages real quick because someone definitely sent me a DM regarding them coming first this week, and they came first by a fair bit. Yeah, that's right. It was Jakey Boy. He sent me a message on Instagram letting me know that he managed to smash out of first. And so the team that he had were, the backline was Sinclair, Barras, Vlossenden, Brayshaw, Sicily, and Dawson. So a few picks that are familiar in our lineups, except a few changes here and there, like he put Barras in to go back to back, and he did so. Brayshaw had a good one. Then we look at the midfield. Hugh McCluggage was a person he picked up. He put in LDU, which was an interesting one, maybe one that I haven't noticed as much. He's put in Steele, Laird, and Mills, 2 really good picks. And then Rowan Marshall as the ruck, maybe a little bit of influence, who knows. And then the forward line, he had Smith, Bontempelli, Himmelberg, Moore. He also had Jeremy Cameron like I did, and he had Connor Rosie. Now, I'm not sure how Connor Rosie did because I haven't put in my Port Adelaide best and fairest code, but nonetheless, seems to be a good pick because he's absolutely smashed it this week, beating everybody by at least 50 points. Really good for him. But let's hope that we can keep ourselves on top. But as we go over to the team coach tips now, we'll check our previous round. Round 19. Jeez, 4 out of 9. That was a horrible week. We didn't get Melbourne because for some reason I really thought that they could do it. Considering though Melbourne have always been able to pick them off and they look like doing it again in that game, I was pretty certain that the Demons were going to take it. But Dogs showed resilience. North was a really bad pick. Really, really bad one. Richmond versus Fremantle actually got considered a no score, considering that you can press the middle and it actually lets you activate a draw or a draw margin. But obviously not a lot of people are doing that. We had Sydney over Adelaide, that one was correct. St Kilda over West Coast, that one was correct. Carlton over GWS, that one was correct. This one almost ended up correct. Gold Coast nearly picked them off, which I was very surprised with, considering that in hindsight, before the round had started, I was kind of like wanting to switch it over, but stuck with my gut, and it nearly paid off, but a loss by 17 nonetheless. And then an incorrect tip by a kick after the siren. Jamie Elliott's goal. Wow, what a goal. Amazing stuff. But from there, that is it. Let's go and collect ourselves a prize card, and there's one player I got my eyes on, and it's Jack Zeeble, because honestly, I'm not sure how much time I've got left. You can see here, Dustin Martin you can no longer collect. You can see he's been like blacked out. He no longer has color. That means he can no longer be picked up. Dustin Martin is completely gone. So thankfully, we've already got the card. We are one of the lucky collectors. But yes, I'm going to be picking Jack Zeeble because I don't know when I'll get another Star Powers win, if I ever do. So I need to try and get him. I was very confident I was going to get him throughout the year. And so we picked all the better and more notable players like Dusty first, then Buddy, then we went Cripps and Wines and Gorn. I think we're going to be safe now and pick up Zeeble. Lovely, so there it is. Card should be around 2 to 3 weeks to get here. Hopefully that works out all right. Have any others been etched out, like no longer in color? No, it's literally just Dusty has run out of redemptions. No longer can be picked up. That's a bit of a shame, but nonetheless, very glad we do have him. And now also have another one in Jack Zeeble, which brings us to, I think, 11 total prize cards. I can check my profile real quick. Yep, 11 in total. Ridiculous stuff. Now 2 rank 4s and that pesky rank 12 that we got to get a bit lower. So let's hope it all turns out right. So far, so good. Let's hope for a big finish to the season. So thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Become a member if you feel like it. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.